Welcome to Health Pod, your self-development hub
on mental health, psychology, and spirituality. As soon as I saw you, I knew that you were my wife. You were going to be the one.
I knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted to be treated. I knew what levels of respect I deserved.
I've fallen into the trap of the shadow lover.
It was so rocky. And a lot of the times you say that I keep poking you.
Oh, she's jealous. She's a crazy bitch.
I was crazy.
Yeah, you were crazy.
And that's where most relationships do go wrong.
I see a person that is actually trying to be the best version of themselves in a variety of different domains.
And I do that because I expect the highest level of integrity and commitment from myself to myself ends in our relationship.
And I need to step up as well.
Welcome back to another Health Pod episode. Today we're talking about relationships. I'm here with my hubby, Stephanos, and I'm Hélène, an embodiment and empowerment coach. We're going to talk about what has kept us together for 14 years, covering all the juicy aspects of how we triggered the shit out of each other when we first met, and how that actually has been our foundation in building really good communication between us until today. So stay tuned and watch the episode.
Are we recording now?
We're recording now.
Are we recording? Yeah?
Yeah. Are we there yet?
Are we there?
Yeah, we are.
Na 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 na.
Baby
shark. Baby shark. Okay. So we've been together for 14 years and we're here to speak about a relationship and what has made our relationship
and
successful.
We have 2 kids, as you can hear.
And we have 2 kids. And surely a relationship is not something that when it's good enough, you just stop. You need to work on it on a daily basis. But this is some personal information that we would like to share with you on our own personal journey and how it has brought our relationship to the level that it is today. Hélène, welcome to this podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. Looking at our relationship, we've been together 14 years. Bloody hell, it's a really long time. Would you have been in it? Would you have been in it knowing that you would have been in it for so long? Like as a concept?
Yes,
Okay.
Because as we've discussed on one of our initial episodes, as soon as I saw you, I knew that you were the woman of my dreams. You were my wife. I knew that you were going to be the one.
Yeah, so stuck with me forever.
Yeah,
Okay.
You did not feel the same way. Understandable. Maybe because you just came out of a fresh relationship. But we're not here to speak about that. We're here to speak, though, about what has made me shift and be completely 100% only for you. The first obstacle that I personally had to overcome, it was my trust issues.
Okay.
Because being a single man and having multiple relationships, I had a lot of difficulty trusting women. I'm not saying that it was their fault. It was my behavior, though, towards them from one point of view. I think that's something that went through my mind and maybe in every man's mind, is that if a woman is easy, let's say if a woman sleeps with you on the first date, then because of your insecurities, because of your personal trauma, because of your trust issues, you immediately put a tag on her. Like if she's that easy with me, then she's possibly going to be that easy with everyone else. Now, this is something that did not happen in our relationship.
Yeah, I'm not easy. Think I know.
Yes, you're not easy. And you've set certain boundaries for me that were very clear.
Yeah.
And those boundaries had to do everything with self-respect. You're respecting yourself and you wanted to be treated in a specific way.
I knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted to be treated. I knew what levels of respect I deserved. And if I wasn't going to get that from you or whoever else it was, then there was no way that I would even be in a relationship like that, let alone have a friendship like that. I believe that our connection started off really rough because of this mistrust that we had between us, which is actually our super strength in our relationship today, because it was so rocky. So therefore we had to put in so much work, which we were both willing to do in order to get us to the level that we are at today. And again, when I say levels, I don't mean like higher or lower, but there's a deeper sense of connection, trust, communication, and all of that comes with knowing who you are in yourself individually and who we are together.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I doing that was triggering you at the beginning? Because we went through kind of a rough patch of a lot of anger. I'm gonna get back to you. Oh, you getting back at me.
We were very vindictive at the beginning. So when I met you, you were a player. Okay. So with that attitude, obviously came my own insecurity of, can I trust this person? Can I be myself around them? Can I give you my heart? How will you handle it? And so with that, whenever I would feel that you would say you were into me, but then you would also show interest in other women.
How would I do that?
By flirting. You still are really flirty as a person, but it's something that I've worked on with being comfortable with myself. It's got nothing to do with you, but I know who I am, and I also know what your intentions are behind the flirting. Like, I know that that's your character. And by no means did I ever want to come along and say, well, don't speak to women, or don't speak like that, or behave this way, because I would automatically put you into a restrictive way of behaving, and that would alter Stefano, which your carefree, jokey, crazy spirit is actually and fun spirit is really what I love about you. So I know that I have such a strong personality, rigid in a good way. Like, I know what I want, but that can also be very confining for the person that you're in a relationship with. So with that being said, I was aware of who you were, who you wanted to be, but I was also starting to understand your intentions behind you flirting with other women. It would make me feel unstable. But when I realized that actually had nothing to do with you, but it had everything to do with me and how I felt, that I was feeling threatened.
Well, yes, I understand what you mean. Was I doing something that, despite the fact that you were getting annoyed by my behavior, in a way I was also reinstating my love for you? Because, yes, I do understand that I do have a flirty personality and I do have an admiration for the opposite sex, but that comes also from a place of innocence. You understand what I mean? The person might perceive it in a wrong way that I'm interested, but in my point of view, if I see a man or a woman that is good looking, or I don't know, has a very nice sense of style, I will say it. The other person, though, might perceive it as, he's hitting on me.
But let's just put this into context. If you were to be living in the States, you wouldn't be considered flirty.
No, I would be considered friendly.
Yes, exactly. It's a different way of communicating and expressing ourselves within this small island that we live on, in London, for example, people are not so outgoing, whereas you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cultural thing. So I understood that with your behavior, I wouldn't say, yes, you have an admiration to the opposite sex, but you love people. You are interested in people. And the way that you speak to women, it's because you are curious in finding out, who are they? What does that mean? Like, why do they behave that way? Why are they dressing that way? What's their backgrounds? So with that, my own curiosity of me understanding that your interest didn't necessarily come from you wanting to get in someone's pants.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also feeding your own insecurities.
Yeah, of course.
Let's put that out there as well, that you...
Of my validation, of my need to be loved, accepted. And before I met you, and maybe this has been an ongoing path for me, I've fallen into the trap of the shadow lover. And the shadow lover is the person that it's so addicted to attention, to sex, to receiving love from the opposite sex. And throughout the years, I've also accumulated a lot of shame around my old self and the way that person was. Because I understand that that person was an immature person with a lot of insecurities. And when we fall into that trap of looking for validation, random relationships, sexual gratification, then at the end of the day, we never feel fulfilled. We never feel truly loved. We still feel alone. We might get the validation, okay, maybe we're good looking, and maybe a woman or a man might decide, in my case, a woman might decide to share her body with you, but that doesn't mean that that person loves you. Eventually, a man within the framework of the shadow lover also becomes an instrument of satisfaction, an object. A man becomes objectified and falls into that infantile model of receiving, but never really giving or caring. The divine lover or the lover archetype is a person that also
loves themselves first and foremost, and comes from that position to also serve. Yes.
Whereas the shadow lover is the opposite, is there to take something away or satisfy their own needs.
Their own needs, exactly. their own insufficiencies that they feel from themselves. They are seeking that from somebody else.
So you have actually managed to put certain boundaries for me, and you controlled the shadow lover, and you slowly started putting boundaries for me to become more accountable for my relationship, more responsible, show up as the best version of myself. And I'm truly thankful for that. Because I don't know how this could have happened if I haven't met you. Maybe this was my path of enlightenment. This was my path of enlightenment. It has come through you. But it would have taken me many, many years to understand a lot of things about myself. And it was through this friction that we had together that I came into realization.
We were arguing and we had anger spurts for maybe a year and a half. Talking about anger spurts and going through a process of a whole year of just arguing and having this friction between us that in fact helped us so much to lay a really strong foundation as to who we are in the relationship and what our boundaries are and what we're accepting of from each other. It took a lot of compromise, I think is the word that I would use. A lot of the times I could see where you were making space for who I was truly. So, I would respond in a specific way. I would be really, really angry, and you would look at me and be like, oh my God, you're so cute. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're aggravating me right now. How could you still find love in your heart to look at me in that way? And to feel that, oh, there's this it's like you could see this inner child in me and you were giving me love, and that would throw me off. So obviously my anger would soften. And with that softening, I would realize that when you would go through your process of whatever, that was of aggravating me, like I brought more kindness and compassion to how I would view your flaws. And we would do this dance between us of always giving each other space.
Yes. Now, I've never thought about this before, but I obviously have changed so much as a man since that time, because I was more into my more childlike energy, more love, more understanding, and I had the eyes to see your innocence, which was magnetizing for me. But I also, on another point of view, I was thinking, oh my God, she cares about me. Hi guys, thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Stephanos Ioannou and I'm a psychophysiologist. I specialize on stress and anxiety and also on communication issues between couples. So for those of you that might be facing this type of problems, I provide the link for you below to book your one-to-one session with me. See you there. For her to respond in this way and for me to trigger her, it means that I'm actually being loved here. And I felt validated, because I sometimes, even today, I'm thinking, what have I done to deserve so much love from this woman? What have I done to see me and admire me in this way? Obviously, there are certain issues over there that I need to keep working on, in terms of the love that I should have for myself and the way I show up for myself on a daily basis. But what I would like to ask you is, do you think, and I understand that the way you were responding to me, I did not make you feel safe.
No, not at all.
And a lot of men, they say, oh, she's jealous, she's a crazy bitch, she's...
I was crazy.
Yeah, you were crazy, and you were violent as well. But
I did punch you once.
That's not the point, though. Yeah, you did punch me once or twice. Or I don't remember. Irrelevant. Many women believe that a man needs or has to feel jealous for them to feel loved.
I've lost you.
Okay. So this jealousy,
yes,
it's kind of a twofold question. Let's start with I want to pick your brain on this. Many women, they want to poke their man to feel jealous, because through his jealousy, they feel like they're being loved.
Okay.
Although the way I see it for myself, if I feel insecure in a relationship and I feel like I'm being compared to someone else, which can also be constructive in a way, I would want to run away, because I wouldn't feel safe in that relationship, especially at the first steps of a relationship.
Okay.
If I cannot trust the person that I'm with, and this is something that you gave me, I trusted you because how did I trust you? I trusted you because you were extremely difficult to approach. You knew where you stand. When we were together in a club or in a public place, you were not looking around.
You were.
I was.
Yeah.
The way you spoke to me, and if I overstepped certain boundaries, immediately you would reinstate the boundaries.
Yeah. So going back to that comment that I just made with regards to you looking around, one thing that I always used to do, and I would still do it at times, even today, I give you a taste of your own medicine. It sounds vindictive, but it always brings you into awareness. And when I'm doing it, I'm also doing it from a place of, I'm aware that I'm doing it. So I'm not, I wouldn't, for example, when we first met, you might speak to someone that you knew and that would make me feel unsafe. You weren't just speaking to them. Maybe it's a previous relationship, whatever. And I would see that. Then I would purposely go and speak to someone that was a friend or knew me, or maybe I didn't know, just to poke you a little bit, just so you know that, you can't take someone for granted, and they won't just be there because you said you're together with the other person. Making sure that you knew that, and I still do it until today, that you have to keep working for this relationship. And that's where most relationships do go wrong, because they forget and they take the other person for granted. And a lot of the times you say that I keep poking you, whether it's where you can be in your career or our relationship as a parent. And I do that because I expect the highest level of integrity and commitment from myself to myself ends in our relationship, ends with how I function as a parent, where I see my career going, and vice versa for you. So it sounds like they're very high standards, but I think it's just for me, it's a reminder of our possibilities, our capacity, our potential as people, because we have a lot. Every single person does, but it's a reminder. Sometimes we forget. We just get into our routines, and it's just like, well, it feels comfortable here, so why would I change it?
And safe. Yeah.
Like doing this podcast, it wouldn't have come about if I didn't sit and organize it.
That's true.
And to me, that's, it could have been like, okay, we'll just sit back. You're already, you've got your clients, you're doing what you're doing, you're a mother. But there's always room for growth.
I love what you've mentioned. Never take your partner for granted, which is something that a lot of relationships do. Yep. And they don't reinstate their commitment on a daily basis, especially as soon as they wake up. I choose you. Yeah. I choose you. Yeah. I choose to show up as the highest version of myself. And the way that you keep me on my toes is that you invest on yourself. Every day you choose to show up as your best self in your relationship, as a mother, as a professional. And I see a prototype. I see a person that is actually trying to be the best version of themselves in a variety of different domains. And I need to step up as well, because I know that if I don't, eventually the relationship is slowly going to start sliding. Yeah,
we're going to just take our own paths, because I'm going in a specific direction as
spiritually,
you are,
physically, mentally, professionally, emotionally. So a relationship develops as people develop. And if we stop developing together
in the same direction,
then the relationship starts falling apart. And you see many couples, like one of them is super fit, the other one is not. One of them reads books, the other one doesn't have the same aspirations. One cares for their family, the other one doesn't. One does yoga, a man might never follow. The woman likes sunsets, the man will never go and sit and watch a sunset.
Yeah, but this is where compromise comes in, isn't it, as well? There's small things that you can understand, okay, he has a love for this. Like, you love fish, you love
diving.
I don't. But I still put myself in the process of understanding, okay, what is it an angelfish? What is an angelfish? Like, you know, that I would see, I'll be like, oh, that's an anemone. Like, I had no idea what that was. But I actually sat and thought, okay, it's interesting to him. There must be something interesting here that can spark my own curiosity. I can learn something about it. Okay, he likes to go diving. I'm going to try scuba diving. And we did. You know, we've been to the Bahamas. We've been to Mexico. And because of that openness and curiosity to be able to see the world through your eyes as well.
You showed interest.
I showed interest.
You showed interest in my inner child.
Yeah.
And that inner child always shouts for attention, wants to be seen, even for the craziest stuff. It could be, I don't know, something random. It could be a painting. It could be arts and crafts. And the fact that you always show interest in my weirdest aspirations, like carnivorous plants, or
I love that weirdness
aquariums,
about you. See, that's
and
can you imagine?
And insects. And I know you hate insects, and you're like, oh, that's a nice insect. It looks like a big cockroach. What is it? Take it away from me. But can I please put it in our room? And you're like, maybe if you put it in that corner, it eventually kind of disappears somewhere.
That was the quirkiness, though, about you that I loved. I loved that weirdness. And if I was to say, well, you know what? You need to grow up. That would take the fun-loving spirit out of you.
Or if you would say to me, oh, you're not an ordinary man. You don't like football. Or you don't like, I don't know, team sports. I would feel inadequate. Because this is something that I grew up with my whole life.
You were always different.
I was always different. I had different forms of aspirations, different appreciation of different things.
Of life. Yeah.
Of life. Yeah. I was more into my creative side, and something that was one of the greatest moments for me that I've literally just fallen into this relationship, without a parachute, full of love, was when I started showing you parts of my childhood, on how I used to spend time with myself growing up, and you embraced those things. Because I wasn't really the most confident guy in saying, oh, you know what? I like Lego. I like painting.
Oh, by the way, he actually does.
Yes.
We have Lego everywhere in the house.
I like playing the flute.
And that's still in the house, yes.
Yes, and that's still in the house. I like fashion.
Yeah.
I like poetry. I'm a sensitive guy.
Yeah.
And growing up in a society that it's very action-based with a lot of toxic masculine traits.
I gave you the space.
You gave me the space.
To be you.
To be me.
And to allow that inner child feel safe. And in that safety, you were able to be yourself. So that's when you would put on this facade of the player, that's when I wasn't interested. It was the moment that you took that facade down and you actually showed me your sensitivity that I thought, I like this guy. I can see the real you. I can see what you're made of. And you know me, I like deep stuff, and I like substantial conversations and things that feel real. And when I could see that you were putting on this facade, I could also see the light in you. But as soon as you were able to just tap into that innocence and feel safe to be you, that's when I was able to truly love you.
So I exposed my vulnerability.
Correct.
And yes. I also gave you ammunition to use that against me.
Yes.
Because you kind of knew that I was shy about all these things.
Yes, and I encourage you to come out of your comfort zone of what society, your parents,
the masks
your
have
friends,
dropped.
told you to be. Whereas I loved that about you. That's what I loved about you. I thought, oh my God, he's different. Look at this.
And many men, including me, before I've met you, they've put on this mask of what society expects them to be like.
Yeah.
Macho, let's make a lot of money, I'm making money, or I'm making things up that I'm this and that, although I could be nothing like that. And a lot of men do that to be accepted, to be loved. But if you want to build a long-lasting connection with any woman, you need to be vulnerable as a man.
Yeah.
Whether it's your workplace, whether those things are your relationships, admit that you're jealous, admit that you feel insecure, admit that you feel inadequate, so that your partner, and that's where the divine feminine comes in. Because the divine feminine can take that vulnerability, and through love, it can guide you, nurture it into a place where you can grow. And you have done this in many occasions in my personal life.
The key, looking back on our relationship until today, in the past we might have argued and triggered each other, and it might have turned aggressive or toxic. But that was our form of communication then, because we didn't know how to put it into words. Now, with the years, our communication style has changed, and we are able to sit there and actually put our emotions on the table and say, what you did made me feel this way. And you don't turn around and say, it's in your head and there's, you're just making it up. You actually acknowledge and say, okay, I hear you. I understand how that could have made you feel that way. That wasn't my intention. And next time I will be aware of how I do things, and vice versa. You'll come to me and say, you know what? I didn't like.
I felt hurt.
Or the way that you speak is very harsh. Is something that you tell me a lot.
But maybe this is what I want to hear as well. So I think...
Yeah, let me just finish this point, that your communication in a relationship is key, as well as vulnerability from both ends. And what your vulnerability taught me was that it was okay to be vulnerable, because I had the programming that vulnerability is weak, that you have to be tough, and to show emotions is not okay. It's not respected. It's not okay. So when it came from you, it gave me permission to also understand that maybe I can be vulnerable, which took many years for me to work on, and understand that I could cry in front of you. And that I crying was actually a release of energy. It was cleansing for me. It was okay to feel and experience. And through the vulnerability and our communication, we were teaching each other things that we wanted to learn about ourselves.
We were holding up the mirror for each other.
Yeah, constantly. And we still do that, even when it's hard. Even through the tough times, we do that. We hold up the mirror.
The way I see any relationship is that a good relationship helps you remember who you truly are in your core being. And the distractions that we have around us dismember us. They don't allow us to remember what is our true goal, purpose, what it is to be a woman or a man. Really be a woman and really be a man. And for that to slowly unfold, I think that the first thing that any relationship needs to cultivate is safety.
Yes.
Do you feel safe to express yourself? Are you talking on top of each other? When someone opens up in regards to their emotions, on how they feel, do you listen? Do you validate those emotions?
Are you present?
Are you present?
I think presence is key. I know that presence is key, which is what we do. And when we don't do it, that's when we feel disconnected. I'm not going to sit here and say that we manage, but we try at least 60% of the time. Recently, we've realized that we're going in our own tangent of thoughts on work, with having our events and our retreats and our clients. And
there's a lot of chasing.
There's a lot of chasing. There's a lot of exploring ourselves as well. And in that, as you know, being a mother and you having a very full workload, and me taking on the projects behind the scene and doing the marketing and the management of everything, we have each kind of started to feel more disconnected. And therefore, what have we done? We went on a trip together. So we're remembering, we're bringing ourselves back. And we went on a trip to a place that we went 14 years ago. To reconnect and relive those memories and recreate them, and think and take moments and pauses to see how far we've come, who we've become, and how we show up for each other in those 14 years. Like, we're taking time for us.
And what I realize is that I remember when we're sitting in the same bedroom. And as a 23, 24-year-old, now I'm 37, I used to just sit and observe you put your makeup on for 30 minutes, for an hour. I was like, this woman is so beautiful. And I've lost that throughout the years. I'm not present enough. I'm constantly rushing to be on time, to do the next thing. And I don't take the time to connect with you. And that is painful for me. Because I'm forgetting, I'm becoming dismembered by the things that I should be doing, instead of being present and appreciating what I have.
I love you.
I love you so much.
Louis?
And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for watching these beautiful and intimate moments of our relationship. Join us on our next episode, where we'll be discussing about sexual intimacy.
Oh, we are?
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure filming it for you guys. If you like the work that we are putting out into the world, please make sure you like this video and you subscribe to our channel. It really helps the work that we do.
And if you would like to follow our journey on our IG accounts, as well as learn more about our services, we provide everything for you in the description below. Thanks for watching.